Tonight, a father's pain puts the spotlight on a proposed new law that would protect victims of domestic violence. Gun owners served with a restraining order would have to give up their weapons. It's controversial, so 11 Alive investigator Rebecca Lindstrom's taking a look at it to see if it would even work.
Vinny, getting access to police and court records is tough right after a crime. So I focused on 2016 and I went through every domestic violence related homicide that I could find here in Georgia to try to answer the question, would removing an abuser's weapon after a permanent restraining order was put in place actually have stopped the killing? And it was that research that led me to McDuffie County.
It hurt. It really hurt. It really hurt.
Police say Tyrone Davis's daughter was shot and killed by her boyfriend Lenny Moss right in front of their 4 children. She had been staying at her grandmother's, but after filing for a protective order and having the locks changed on the doors, she thought it would be safe to go home. She was killed 3 days later.
I wish she could have just stayed here. Yeah. I really wish she could have just stayed here.
At least 72 people were killed in 2016 in a domestic dispute, more than half of them with a gun. People like Tyisha Davis. She is exactly who the new law aims to protect by requiring anyone served with a temporary protective order to sell or surrender their gun to a licensed firearm dealer. People like Lenny Moss.
Well, there's no denying that there is a problem with domestic violence in this country, but taking away people's constitutional rights is not necessarily the best way to address that problem.
Attorney and gun rights advocate John Monroe says the bill goes beyond the federal law to include violence against anyone you've ever lived with, such as an old college roommate. And the federal law says it's illegal to possess a gun. It doesn't say the gun has to be sold or surrendered.
It's a crime to possess cocaine, but nobody goes around to make sure you don't have any cocaine. If you're found possessing it, you get arrested.
But do you get arrested? Of the cases I studied, 13 of the accused shooters were either convicted felons or already had some kind of condition that barred them from possessing a gun. They still had one.
If I'm a Second Amendment person.
Next month, District Attorney Bill DuPay will prosecute Moss for the murder of Tyisha Davis. DuPay says he fully supports gun ownership, but he also knows the risk of death skyrockets in a domestic violence situation when there's a gun lying around. Is there more that you wish the law could do?
I think that gap between, or the missing link between what we can do at the state level and what is available at the federal level should be closed.
Moss and Davis had a history of domestic violence, but she didn't seek the protective order until she says Moss came to her grandmother's house and choked her so hard blood started coming out of her eyes and nose.
Right down in the room, right down in the den.
Domestic violence advocates say many people don't get protective orders simply because they don't believe they'll work. Of the people who were shot and killed, only 3 had some kind of no-contact order from the court. In Davis's case, the judge made a decision to order Moss to surrender his gun. The sheriff's department says it tried for a month to find him, but didn't have any luck.
McDuffie 911.
The family did call 911 when Moss showed up at their house just days before Davis was killed.
Lenny Moss, he's not supposed to be like around here. Well, my sister got a restraining order on him.
According to our open records, a deputy did respond, but no action was taken. The sheriff's department has yet to explain why.
Your daddy gonna forever always love you.
Tyrone Davis believes on that day, law enforcement had the chance to alter events and save his daughter's life. But he stands at her grave knowing the proposed law would not have helped. That's because it would not have required Moss to surrender his gun until after his court hearing. That hearing was scheduled for December 20th. But on that day, instead of going to court, police say he killed Davis instead.
You're gonna always be a part of my heart, no matter what. And I love you, baby. I love you.
So this bill would not have saved her. Would it make any impact?
Just giving the courts and police clarity on this issue would make a difference, but we're really going to have to consider if we want to save lives, should we be removing these weapons at the beginning part of this process? something lawmakers are going to have to decide.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Rebecca.